for those about to rock. So, welcome to the Get Busy Living podcast with the wonderful Rennee Perri. So, thank you so much, Rennee. We had a false start this morning, but we're in the home straight now. So, thank you so much for coming on, and can't wait to hear the gold nuggets that you've got of information that is, to share with everyone. So, much appreciated, Rennee, coming on.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. So I'll start off with my usual question. So, what gets you out of bed every morning, Rennee?
Yeah, it's a really good question. My 3 sons, to be honest. And that's it, 100%. And it always has been since the boys have been born. Being healthy and being able to jump out of bed and be ready for 3 active guys is it's my biggest criteria in life.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, so that's wonderful that it's family is everything for you. So I get it, I understand, and that's appreciated, and and that helps you to help the community as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Look, it seems like it's a very trivial comment to say that it's my boys that get me out of bed, but it's actually far further from the truth than you can imagine. So, when you're an unhealthy version of yourself, sometimes you can't even get out of bed. And I've been that person before where you can't get out of bed no matter how hard you try. So having a focus and a reason to get out of bed is something that I had to create for myself and remind myself of many times. So being a wellbeing coach, you have to understand it's more than just nutrition. It's got to be the mental capacity that you're also creating for yourself as well. So my sons do get me out of bed because they're motivating me to stay healthy and clean and look after them as well as myself and my community.
Absolutely. And so that gets me into the next question. So so you're a health coach, you're also a nutritionist, yeah?
Yes.
So stupid question. What got you into that? What got you into
actually it started look, Mahalo's journey started actually when I was a child. My father was a very, very big advocate for health and well-being. He actually taught me many different skills in with looking after your body. And I loved what my father taught me so much. But I started to notice as I was getting older, a lot of people, including my family, were really unhealthy on medication. So I actually started my journey with studying diseases, to be honest. And one of them was heart disease because my stepmother had heart failure at 50 years of age. And that was scary for me. I'm like, wow, 50, you're only 50 and you've already had a triple bypass. And so my motivation for Mahalo really started with heart disease, but then it moved into anaphylaxis because I actually had a child with severe anaphylaxis. And so I really went out and started to educate myself, but also my community as well from the get-go when I was studying anaphylaxis. And then during my process of understanding anaphylaxis over 20 years of living and breathing the lifestyle of an anaphylactic family, I decided that I really needed to step up my game. I'd created literally hundreds of recipes that were dairy-free, but also medicinal. But I didn't have the science to back me up. Even though I understood all the science, I didn't have the science to back me up. So I went out and became a nutritionist, but I focused mainly around sporting nutrition because I dealt with a lot of athletes at that point in my life. Then when I created Mahalo Hub, the healing hub, I started to attract a lot of other clients in a different realm altogether. And that was mainly around psychology of food. So then I've continued my study to make sure that I'm keeping up with the audiences that I'm dealing with. So my journey with Mahalo really, really started when I was 6 years old, but it formed when I was 24. And I've been building it from the age of 24 and I'm now 49. So it's been a very long journey. And I feel like any practitioner, A true practitioner knows none of it comes overnight. Your knowledge comes through dealing with your customers, looking after people, having the right attitude, and making sure that you're always staying relevant and learning as well.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And but you're also influenced by people that could cook, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Jamie Oliver completely revolutionized my kitchen. I loved that he took simplicity and made it a big deal. But I was actually surrounded by that to begin with. Being a Maori culture background and having married an Italian, I was surrounded by these beautiful nonnas and nonnus that taught me so much about simplicity of food. And then I developed the want to go, well, okay, what's the chemical reaction of that tomato when it does this? Or what's the chemical reaction for that? So I started getting more science-based once I got the foundations of the food properly down. I also worked in the food industry for 5 years myself, and I started up a vegan protein ball business, doing a lot of alchemy, to be brutally honest. So food has always been my priority because I believe you could heal with food, or at least attempt to be what I always say is you're pre-gaming, right? That continuous maintenance for yourself. So it shouldn't matter whether you're 20 years old or 49. Your health should always be your priority of what you're putting in your mouth and what's it doing for you when you put it in your mouth as well.
Absolutely. And I totally understand what you're saying, and that's what I'm saying. Because the Maori culture, they also eat a lot of seafood. Yeah.
Yes, very. Yeah.
They're surrounded by water. So
we eat a lot of. My dad actually put me and my brothers, and I need to put it into perspective. I have 5 brothers that are 6'4", and I'm 5 foot. So my dad decided that I needed to be on the Maori diet. And unfortunately, that does not work for a 5 foot young girl. So I actually had to learn to keep up with my father. He was thin himself. He was very fit because he's a musician and was up on stage performing. So he had this huge exercise program, and I saw him doing it. So I followed him all the time, and that helped me maintain that Maori diet while I was growing up. But obviously that sort of Maori diet kind of fell through to the ground a little bit once I discovered Italian food, Thai, Greek, all the other beautiful cuisines of the world, and you realize how bland and boring Maori food can be. And I wanted to up my game a bit and make sure that not only can you eat healthy, but you can eat healthy with flavor. That's the most important thing, is eating with flavor. As well.
Well, yeah, that's the problem is a lot of people have forgotten how to cook.
Yeah.
It's not in our culture anymore. So the last 3 generations have basically, we've become, well, I don't want to say it, but we've become lazy. We're more down the street, buying what's convenient instead of taking the time to do what you're doing.
And look,
cook.
Make things from scratch is very hard for people nowadays, right? People use a lot of excuses. They give themselves a ton of excuses as to why they can't do it or why it's not relevant for them. And I've had these conversations with my peers, with friends I've grown up with, and I just sort of look down and I stop talking, because everything that's coming out of their mouth is a lazy excuse. And I'm not allowed to ever be critical of people, right? Or supposedly. So you're always sort of just closing your mouth a little bit and going, but how's that working for you? Right? So when you give businesses the power to control your sugar and your processed food and your salt intake, of course you're going to be unhealthy, or of course you're going to be having other issues because you're not controlling your situation. Someone else is, right? And it's very easy to use the excuses that, oh, I'm too time poor to cook. Well, that's great, but what are you doing at nighttime? Are you just sitting in front of the TV, or are you cooking and making meal preps for yourself, right? So it's really, I challenge people a lot on their narrative that comes out of their mouth when they're a client of mine. I don't ever challenge narratives when it comes out of friends and family. I just let them say what they're going to say. And I just don't try not to think anything when they're talking, to be honest. But you're absolutely right. People don't. Pardon?
It's for a reason.
I zip my mouth for a reason, because they're not going to like what I'm going to say if I actually speak from truth in actually science-based information. So, I've spent 30 years learning what I've learned, and whereas other people don't take it as seriously, and they use Dr. Google, right? I remember hearing a lady recently talking to me about the benefits of cold plunges for a woman. And you and I both know, based on Chinese medicine, how bad that actually is. And when I sort of voiced that to this lady, she was 40. She blatantly looked me in the face and said, "What on earth would you know?" And I said to her, "Well, actually, I run retreats on my property. I have a cold plunge as well as a pool, as well as a sauna. And we don't allow women to do cold plunging because their organs need to stay warm. It may be different for a man." She then continued to argue with me. So I just said, "Look, you know what? You're right. I know you've been going on Dr. Google and looking up the information, so I'll leave it with you."
Yeah. And it's pretty bad when the GPs are doing that.
Yes, absolutely. So I actually took it a step further, Dr. Scott. I actually went on Google and then put cold plunging in, and all the data that I found was mainly about men doing cold plunging and not females. So there wasn't any real data in it. Yeah, so I did actually take, because I wanted to see what this person was, what information she was gaining that she felt like my information was incorrect. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go on chat, and I'm going to go on Google, and I'm going to see what it is. The data that came up on ChatGPT was very similar to Google. So it just told me that there's a lack of data being put in those sort of platforms at the moment around those sorts of topics. It's rather 2 years behind in information still.
Yeah, and from a Chinese medicine point of view, it's the same with drinking cold water.
Yes,
everyone, or drinking cold drinks. It's the same thing. The stomach doesn't like cold. It's
not at all.
It's not designed to have cold things. And the problem is, over time, because you got to remember the stomach is a muscle.
That's right.
And what does cold do to a muscle? It contracts it.
It contracts it.
But it contracts it, but it also spasms it. So that's why when you get an injury and you put ice pack on you notice the muscle will start to spasm.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah. And I can add a little bit to that as well, what you just said, because it's something that I talk about when I'm trying to explain protein versus sugar to people. So lactose, or the sugars that are in a food. So one of the things I explain to people is, people understand that they've got to let a steak relax and not come straight out of the fridge, but they don't really understand the why they've got to do that. And it is because of the proteins spasming and tightening, and the meat will become tough, right? So it's exactly the same when I'm talking the language with food with people. I'm training them up on protein and why you don't eat things cold or cook them cold, because of that exact reason. And then intrinsically, when I'm talking to them about their stomach and about the cold, I do often refer to the steak conversation where it's the same in your stomach, being that it's a muscle, that you're throwing something cold at it and expecting it not to spasm at you. So
that's the problem is.
Yeah, absolutely. Lack of information out there, and the wrong information, plus outdated information too. That's the other thing.
Don't get me on that.
I know.
You want to talk about? You want to talk about the pyramid? The food
new
pyramid?
one.
There's a new one. Yes, yeah. They've changed it. They've changed it. So, but the old one, the old food pyramid, which you're so out of date.
Oh, so out of date and so wrong for so long, and making really actually impairing practitioners as well. So I don't know about you, but some of the confrontations that I come up with clients is around the food pyramid, is around what they've learned 20 years ago from their mother, who, God love that beautiful mum. She had the right information 30 years ago, but what about today, I recently tried to get a couple of people onto a higher level of magnesium during the day. And they said, oh, no, but I don't want to fall asleep. I'm like, you're not going to fall asleep. It doesn't do that to you. But okay.
They just don't know. They just don't know.
No, they really don't. They really, really don't. And, that information was from 20 years ago. So, it doesn't matter whether it's the food pyramid or supplement information. There's been a lot of incorrect data out there in the market. And I think one of the hardest roadblocks I come up against is the arrogance of people who think they understand dieting and diets, and they really don't understand tying it with the psychology of what they're doing and what it's doing to their body. So a lot of people that come to me, they will want a quick fix. And I'm like, no, there's no such thing as a quick fix. You want to lose 30 kilos, you've got to do it organically and naturally so that your body goes back to base and starts to shrink with you. Not that you've got all this excess baggage and skin because you took the easy road out and took a pill or a lap band put on you. So I'm very cautious of the clients that want to work with me because they have to be ready.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's okay to tell someone to do something, but if they're not going to follow what you ask them.
No, and yeah, exactly. And we've all been through it, right? Where you're just literally giving out information for no reason whatsoever. And it's time wasting for them as much as it is for you. Yeah, and exactly right. So I just want to give a shout out to Dominic. He's on YouTube. He's on Facebook now. I'll bring it up. He's our Northside Hawk. I'll just show this one. There he is there. G'day, mate. He's in Victoria. Hi, Dominic.
Through another networking group. So thanks for joining us, Dominic. It all. I don't have to tell you, Rennee, but I'll tell for the audience. So there was a guy called Hansel Keys, and he was a food scientist, and he wrote a book called the Seven Country Study. The problem is he did the study on 11 countries, and he cherry picked the 7 because that fitted his narrative, which was that fat was the enemy, and that it was causing cardiovascular disease. The problem was that he didn't include, I think it was Sweden, France was one. He didn't include 3 or 4 of them. And it's because they were eating these high-fat diets and they were getting low numbers of cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
So... But the problem is that wasn't released. That information wasn't released. So, he got it pushed internationally in the 70s. So he did the book. He released the book in 1964. He published the book in 1964. And then, in the 70s, that, takes the government forever to implement anything. And I remember, even in the 80s, I remember as a boy, they came out and there were ads, it was constant. And it was, don't eat the skin off the chicken. Don't eat the rind off the pork.
Yeah.
Don't eat the what was the other one? The eggs. Yeah, don't eat the yolk in the eggs. You can only eat the white. The white.
Right. I remember. Yeah. Yeah.
Because but they didn't completely release all the information. The problem is there's good fats and there's bad fats.
Correct. There is.
And the problem is they started replacing. You've only got 3 macronutrients. You've only got 3. You only got 3 to choose from. You can't choose any more. You can't add anything else.
What he did was trigger an entire industry to go and create plastic food and plastic eating, plastic oils. And it just, I don't know why people have been so easily led, in all honesty. If it's natural, why should you think it's going to be bad for you if it's been presented to you in a natural form? Like with the carnivore diet people are doing at the moment, they're not eating the fat in the meat. And it's like, oh, are you kidding me? You're actually now just creating acid bombs in your gut. If you add the fat to it, you won't have that problem. So, I think the majority of the clients that I'm talking to at the moment are around the carnivore diet, and everyone talks about this glow up and how amazing they are. In all honesty, all I've seen so far is a lack of energy from everyone. Their skin looks bright for about a week, and then they start to get dull skin as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, can you not see what this is actually doing? And I have noticed too, a lot of stiffness with people that are doing the carnivore diet, because what they're not doing or what they're not realizing is you do need vegetables to complement that meat, to break it down and to help you in your gut. And your stomach doesn't crave only one particular food group. It craves all food groups that we've been provided with, which is vegetables, fruit, and meat and seafood and whatnot, right? So it's quite interesting to see how people take a food group and destroy it like that. As we know, when all of the chemical food was created, like what's my favorite one? Corn syrup. And I know, right? And then all the cooking oils that were created on top of it, telling us that we can't touch olive oil. Olive oils, that's a big no-no, right? I think
it's the best oil you can have. It's one of the few oils that is monosaturated.
What I find interesting the most is that people will prefer to believe what they see on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok without doing any fact checking or digging deep to where they're getting the information from. And then when they come to an expert like yourself or like myself, then we're devalued based on that information, that the lack of content that they've got and that they think they have in front of them. So I feel like our job as practitioners really is to constantly keep realigning, staying in 100% focus. Like, I don't know about you, Dr. Scott, but for the last 30 years, I have stayed dedicated to food and talking food with everybody I know, whether it's family, friends, work, just like a broken record, to be honest, to the point where family and friends are like, oh, Rennee, stop already. But it's because I believe that if we don't do that, then we're not helping our community and we're not giving them the truth. And one day truth will come out and they will see what practitioners like ourselves were doing are to benefit our community and the people in the community.
This is the biggest problem, that you want to talk about pandemics. That's the elephant in the room. Like it's not so obvious. I mean, it is very obvious. I'll give you a perfect example. On the Gold Coast, there's on Surfers Paradise, the main strip. There's a block of toilets there, and it's got two photos. So it's got a photo from 1974, and it's got a photo from 2024.
Oh wow!
So the same beach, right?
Yeah.
And like the beach looks pretty much the same. The footpath has changed, but the people, the people in the photos have totally changed.
In what way?
They all look thin in the 70s, in the 1974 photo.
Yeah.
There's not one person in the photo that looked overweight.
Yeah.
And then you look at the 2024 photo and you're just like, oh my God, there's beach whales everywhere.
Yeah. So, it's the first thing I noticed when I moved to Queensland, actually. And I lived in an area in New South Wales that was kind of quite a health hub. But moving up to Queensland overall and really traveling around Australia everywhere, I have seen obesity climbing exponentially. And it is because people aren't living anymore, Dr. Scott. Let's be honest, right? They go to work their 9 to 5, come home, sit in front of the TV, have a meal. They might do a few little chores here or there. That is not living life at all. Getting out, doing things, forcing yourself to actually break those patterns and actually putting investment into your life and into the people around you, that's just not happening the way it used to. And we seeing people attached to their social media is part of the problem, right? Because they're losing interest in venturing out to have those conversations that they used to. So we were a fitter society in the 70s because we didn't have access to all of the technology that we have now. We had to get out and ride our bikes somewhere or, head off, go for a run. And people aren't doing that anymore. Technology is killing it.
Us as well. Killing us as well. So, and you're exactly right. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to point out. Like the numbers, the numbers here are pretty much the same as the States, United States, and that's what RFK Jr. was saying. It was about 6 months ago, I think it was, and he basically came out and said in 1965 there was 6% of the population had chronic disease, 6%, and in 2025, 60% of the population have a chronic disease. 60%.
And
so
we can attribute that to
you don't get that overnight.
No, that's decades of processed chemical food, right? Processed chemical food. Absolutely. That people are digesting. But it's not just the food that's the issue. That's just a component, and it is the majority of the issues that people are having, but it's also the lack of everything else around it. So, things that I look at with people is their sleep. What are they doing in the evenings? What are they doing in the mornings? What are their sleep cycles like? What are their protocols to keep themselves healthy? And you'll see, you'll get a lot of customers say to me, I have a really healthy diet. I have a really healthy lifestyle, but they're going to bed at 2 a.m. and they're not getting up till 8 o'clock the next day. Or they stay in bed for the whole weekend, right? Because they can't get out of bed to do anything. Or they will venture out for 5 minutes and then call it a day and say, yep, I've done my bit for myself, for my health. But in actual fact, to stay healthy, it requires a huge amount of effort on our behalf, more than just what we're digesting and putting in our mouth, but also too, what does that look like holistically? What are the things that we have to do and to bring down our adrenal system, to keep our nervous system in check, which contributes to weight gain, right? So if you've got a lot of chemicals in your body from all the food that you're processing, you can guarantee that your adrenal system will be shot alongside it. And that's where the diseases start to kick in. And that's what people don't realize is what the big, gotcha, of why stay healthy, why look after yourself, isn't it? And it's not just about longevity. You want to be able to get up out of bed every day and feel great. You want your muscles to be relaxed as well so that you can power through your day. Now, I've met a lot of young people in their 20s that can't do more than 40 hours a week work. Why? Because they're not feeding their body with nourishment and nutrients at all. And they're not nourishing their mind with anything healthy either. So because they're not nourishing themselves in many different aspects, including the relationships that they go into as well, are very toxic quite often. So this is a compounding factor for why disease starts to kick in with people, because of all of their surrounds, not just what they're putting inside their mouth as well.
Absolutely. And, it's also what we drink as well. It's not only what we...
Yes. Water plays a big role in it. So I actually filter my water 3 times before I drink it. I've always drunk filtered water. And the reason being is because I know I want it to actually absorb in my body as well. When you've got water full of chemicals and chlorine, how is that actually healthy and conducive to a great diet for you? Now, when you go to someone's house and you can tell they're on town water, because as soon as you open up the tap, it smells like chlorine.
You smell it there.
Yeah, you can smell it straight away. So it's like, why do I want to bathe in that? Or why would I want to digest any of that? Because that's poison to me. So our water is poisoned, our food is poisoned, our environments are getting poisoned as well. So you can understand why there's this big thing in the media at the moment of, it does look like we live in a really unhealthy society. And, from yours and my point of view, we handle clients and look after clients all the time that we see, but it's about the transformation that you can give to them. So that's why I was saying to you a little bit earlier, I wouldn't want anyone to come to me unless they're ready, because you have to make some drastic changes in your life and be prepared to do them.
Absolutely. And yeah, especially the younger generations.
Absolutely.
The millennials, they drink so much. These what are they called? Energy drinks. Oh my God.
Yeah. Those are a concern. Look, I don't know why vapes and energy drinks actually exist. Those things kill me when I see it. Or it's the excuses that come with those drinks. Oh, I just need, or I just have, or I've got this too. Well, you can get the same from a glass of cloudy apple juice. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Something like it's a swap. It's a healthy swap, right? Would you mind drinking a glass of cloudy apple juice for me, and instead of your V drink, and tell me what experience you have on it, if you've still got the capacity for energy? But getting people to come along into those changes, that's the hard part.
Absolutely. And iced coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Iced coffee never goes wrong. My actual biggest hack for when I'm having a bad energy day, I take an adrenal blend every single day. That actually really helps me get out of bed. But on top of it, I actually drink noni juice, and have done since I was very little. My sons all drink it as well. And it is an amazing replacement for coffee and for energy drinks. So and there are a lot of people out there that can't drink coffee. So I always look for alternatives that are not caffeine based. And noni juice is a non-caffeine based product that's made from citrifolia fruit. And it's had all the juices taken from the skin mainly. and it actually helps in heart disease. It helps with keeping your sugars balanced, as well as also giving you energy as an extra bonus. So I always say to clients, well, if you're keen to try something new and you really do want to change your life, give noni juice a crack and tell me what you think. So whenever somebody comes to me with a problem, I try to work around the problem and bring a solution that can work, and we can try different solutions for them and see how they go.
And yeah, it all comes back to habits and
yes, habits and habits, discipline, and cadence, right?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think something I did prepare for you guys, for anyone that's been watching the podcast today, I've created a little booklet for you all that I will send to Dr. Scott to distribute, and that has got my 5 master rules broken down. So being a wellbeing nutritional coach, the things that I really do on a daily basis as a cadence, I always keep my nervous system in check, right? Regulating my nervous system. Then also I preserve my muscle movement as well. So my muscle capacity. So that's body mechanics that we're talking now. Then also my sleep consistently for healing, right? So not a lot of people know from 7 p.m. at night, your organs need to rest for healing. But we don't do that a lot of the time. So I do have a lot of clients that come to me and go, oh, I slept all weekend. What's wrong with me? I'm like, wonderful. That's the best news I've actually heard, because that tells me your body puts you to bed to heal. So it's a positive. It's not a negative, right? And then eating whole. So anti-inflammatory foods are really, really key and important. And then also staying connected and with a purpose amongst your community is my last one. So I will be breaking down in my little workbook for everyone what in a granular form, what does that actually look like? How do you get that consistent rest? How do you work on the foods that you're digesting that are for the health purposes? So eating with a purpose is always at the forefront of my mind, and it's something that I try to teach people. It takes a while for people to understand it, to be honest. It's one of the roadblocks I do come up with. They look at me and they go, I don't know really how to do that. And I'm like, that's okay. I've got you. We've got some techniques and some tools to help that are all natural, and they're right in front of you, and you can get them at your local grocery store or your farmer's market as well.
Absolutely. And this is something that isn't talked about, but when we're asleep, our muscles contract. Our muscles, it's like a mild cramping, but it's for a reason. It's what the body is trying to do is get rid of all the toxins out of the bloodstream and out of the muscles and out of the skin as well. And that's what happens is overnight. That's why it's important to drink water first thing in the morning.
Absolutely.
You want to try and flush those toxins that the body's trying to get rid of overnight.
Absolutely.
Out.
And you're detoxing till 11 a.m. That's another thing too, right? So getting people, and a lot of people, I do recommend fasting in the morning a little bit for as long as they can, and keep drinking water during that fast period so that they can continue to flush out the toxins and still give the organs the opportunity that it needs. And I think something I want to bring up to you too is when we learn health in school and education, we only ever talk about very few topics. We don't cover off the fact that this is a lifetime commitment to oneself, right? Looking after yourself is a lifetime commitment because, like you said in the very first question, what gets you out of bed? Well, how do you get out of bed, right? So I think hopefully we'll be able to continue to educate people and help them along with their journey.
And yeah, absolutely. And that's the big problem is I know that depending on the teacher, the problem is the teacher at the schools.
Yes.
some teachers are health conscious and but there's some that, majority just don't. They're like the rest of us, they want to take the shortcuts. They don't want to. The problem is that information is relayed down to the children, and so it's difficult because the problem is, one child is, you've got kids, you understand it. If you're disciplined with your child when it comes to food, and it's hard because they go to school and they say, well, why am I not eating this when they're eating this?
I had that confrontation with my sons their entire school life. So can you imagine sending 3 sons to school and not letting them buy tuck shop? I was that mum. And one day my son said to me, and it wasn't because I was depriving my children of it, I just made my sons breakfast and lunch and dinner every single day. And I didn't want them to sacrifice. So my eldest son said to me one day, Mummy, can we have some money for tuck shop, please? Can we have tuck shop? Yeah. And recently that son, he's now 23, he said to me, Mum, he goes, I started to think about the fact that we never had tuck shop from you. And it was because you actually made our food every day. And I said, yes, I didn't want fat kids. And I went to school with a lot of fat children in high school. And I actually went to school with people that, I couldn't believe what their parents packed in their lunch boxes. Some of them were like full of saturated fats, like KFC, sending children to school with KFC and soda. What the heck? Why is your child even drinking that rubbish? Or why are they eating a product like KFC that's full of hormones and chemicals? And I saw that from a young age myself. So, and then when I was in high school, I remember some parents giving their kids $20 a day to go and spend in the tuck shop, into canteen. And I remember seeing my peers with sausage rolls, pies, twisties, chocolate bars, nothing healthy, nothing ever healthy. Oh, pizza day. Don't forget pizza day at school as well. And it really showed me that we were training people. It was a contradiction to what gets taught in the classroom to what's getting delivered out to the children as well. So, I think that's probably why I was so strict with my own family on, you can't be scared to say no to your children. You can't be scared to say, I don't care if you don't like it. This is how it's going to be because your health is a priority to me. And so from a very young age with my own family, I have drilled it into them that their health is a priority and that it needs to be addressed and looked after. So, that has followed through for all of their lives and even escalating. And I've ramped up the training with my own sons as they've gotten older and what the expectations are to look after the body. So a lot of children, if they've grown up in a healthy home when it comes to food, like my sons, then you've got to start actually leaning in towards more the education on the body mechanics. So that's another thing that, us parents really have to focus on is actually teaching our children how to do deep set fascia releasing so that we don't have retained fluid in the body. We don't have retained tension in the body and we don't hold on to toxins. So because children aren't taught deep set fascia releasing from day one in their school years, they come out of high school or out of university and go to the gym and are still learning the incorrect way to earn their body and keep their body healthy for longevity. So you don't see they talk about, I stretched before. No, you need to stretch before and after. And in fact, you actually need to spend a good part of your day stretching consistently all day long and then hitting your pressure points to release any of the toxins that are building up in your body. And that's where people don't understand what a healing nutritionist is looking at is all the stored toxin in their body. And their lymphatic system is the one that gives it away, right? Because that's their report card that I'm looking at. their report card tells me. I always say, you don't need to talk to me. Your body's telling me what's going on. So that's another thing that I feel like we could be focusing our education pieces around, is not just what we're putting in our mouth, but what happens to it if we don't release it. Where does it go? Well, it stays stored in the body, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that's what, I've heard this before from a GP actually. They said, when you drink Coke, it doesn't change your anatomy. And I thought, my answer was, well, it goes in black, yeah. It goes in black. What color does it come out?
Good question.
Because your body has to process it. It has to.
Yeah.
And
have you ever watched somebody when they are on that sugar rush high as well? Their eyes get completely dilated.
Yeah. You watch it in kids. Kids, it's even more apparent.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I saw a group of young teens eating a packet of like a Dorito type of packet of food, and then watched an hour later what happened to this group of kids. Aggressive, abusive, challenging, and then how do you calm them down? And they're doing this on a regular basis. Another thing too, something that I really noticed heading back down to New South Wales recently, I went swimming in Mona Vale Beach, and I came out of the beach with hives all over my body, showing me, and I rushed out. I was like, I felt itchy straight away. And it just showed me that the water that we now swim in is completely contaminated as well, right? In parts of popular beach areas that we can't even swim in the water anymore because it's contaminated. So, the world is looking pretty bleak when it comes to how are we cleaning this up, because there isn't enough happening around us to help the environment as well as people. So it's something that I've just started to notice a lot more of too, around the environmental pieces that for people. A lady recently mentioned that she bought a Starlink and she's been getting migraines from using it. And I said to her, how about you just stop using it? Can we do that?
What's a Starlink?
So it's, I think it's, what's old mate's name? Elon Musk. It's his version of Wi-Fi for people. So if you don't want to, especially for people that travel, they can use it. And they've always got access and always online. So great tool for that. But when you hear someone who's 42 years old say, oh, I get migraines from using my Starlink, like, whoa, well, that would tell me to turn it off straight away, wouldn't it? Think about what is it doing into your body right now. If you're if you're getting a migraine, what's it hitting and doing in here? What's it doing to your organs as well? So choices people are making, seem to be laxed in education is the biggest. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, just the lack of updated information too that's available for people that isn't Google related or ChatGPT related.
Well, there's someone called a TI, not AI. So it's technical information.
Mm. Oh, yeah. That's
right. Sorry, technical intelligence. That's it, technical intelligence. Because it's controlled by someone else. It's not. Well,
it builds from data. It builds from data, but you've got to make sure that the data that's going in is correct, right?
Yeah, well, someone's controlling the data going in. That's the problem. That's the issue. That's why. When I first heard that, it was technical intelligence. It's like, well, that makes sense. But and that's the problem is, information can be used detrimentally, which we've seen. and it could also be used for our benefit. The problem is it comes back to greed, and then it gets manipulated. Yeah, so the health industry is no different. It's exactly the same. So, and we've become so lazy now that we have to use artificial intelligence to tell us what to do. So it's just out of control.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree with you, Scott.
Well, I mean, when you understand it because you've studied it, you understand it, you get it. When you start to understand the information and go into depth and go down that burrow and go down that hole, you come out of it thinking, what? Everything was a lie. The whole thing was a lie. So, the
food industry was completely built on lies.
Absolutely.
I'll give you a huge example of it too, of ignorance and arrogance with people. I noted that a young lady was suffering, that was pregnant, and she was wanting a cheap way out to nourish her body, or not a cheap, more like a cheat way out. And she wanted to take collagen powder that came in a pouch that sits in a metal sort of pouchy type of container. And I suggested, and this was in a forum that I was part of, which I actually ended up leaving after this because I was so disgusted with people and their comments. But the forum was, the lady reached out and said, is this product okay to take? And I, as a nutritionist, said, no, it's not. Please go down the broth road and maybe make some miso soup or make some bone broth of some kind to really allow nourishment to come in for you and the baby. First of all, it's hot, not cold. The drink that she was referring to was going to be cold, as well as how many different ingredients and chemicals in that packet of food that she was wanting to digest. A lady caught me saying no and that she should go on to broths. And then the lady then turned around and said, I have a friend that's a doctor and she said that this is safe. And you know what? You should also have crackers and bread. Oh my God. And so 3 types of packages that you're going to feed a woman with baby growing in her stomach. No word of anything natural here to be spoken of. It's all going to be manufactured food and nothing natural that you can make yourself too. That's the easiest part. You can buy really good gourmet quality broths, but you can also make it at home. Chicken soup, where did that ever go out of fashion, right? So some of the issues that we're facing in the reality of the world is that people would rather believe stupidity over reality and truth. Yeah, and yes, I did say that out loud.
Well, it's true. You're exactly right. Because you've gone down the rabbit hole. I understand it. I've been there too, and then you come out of it and you think, well, everyone just doesn't realise. They don't understand.
They like being ignorant, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the other thing is, some people know as well, but they don't practice it either. That's another issue.
There's tons of that. A lot of my peers that are in my network, they're not practicing a lot of what they're trying to sell to people. And constantly I pull them up on it and say, if you're not embodying what you're selling, then how can you sell it to people? You can't gift people your knowledge unless you're living and breathing it, right?
Yeah. It's absolutely. And then there was, it took me a long time. It took me a long time to cut these 4 things out. It took me a long time to cut out bread. It took me a long time to cut out pasta. And it took me a long time to cut out rice. And it took me a long time. This is the hardest one, to cut out potato. That was
See, I actually don't recommend anyone cut out any of those altogether. You don't need to get rid of. No. So eat like a nutritionist is what I say to people. If you want to have pasta and you want to have rice, cook it, put it straight in the fridge, let it decarb overnight, then have it for breakfast, because carbs in the morning, you're more likely to burn it off than you will when you sit home at night at dinner time, right? Now with bread, sourdough is always the more optimal one if you can, or anything with grains in it, as opposed to, and limiting yourself to 2 pieces a day is really optimal. And when it comes to potatoes, yes, if you're an obsessive potato eater, you do need to limit it, to two times a week or once a week. All of those foods are in my diet. I had rice for lunch today with tuna. So I don't recommend cutting them out completely. I do recommend them being eaten at the right time of day. And also, and the right time of day is different for everybody, right? So if like my sons, as an example, they work physical activity jobs all day long. So they could literally eat whatever they want during the day, but at nighttime, I do cull the carbohydrates and actually focus on a fruit and veg and meat diet in the evening with a small amount of carbs, right? Because those boys are burning it off, yes, sure. But if you keep teaching them to have carbs in the evening, then they're going to stick to that. And when they stop doing the physical work, what's going to happen? They're going to gain weight really fast. So it's just about, so it's about adjusting the time of day that people actually eat the food that they really love. So, and then limiting it to once a week or twice a week, right? Pasta is once a week is plenty. Rice, let's be brutally honest. There's been so many tests done to prove that there's nothing wrong with rice at all. They use it as a staple ingredient for famine. And in many right? So it's I
understand why,
it's more to do with all the other things that they're eating alongside of it at the wrong time, and all the sugar and salt that they're adding to those ingredients that make it not really worthwhile for you to be eating at a certain period as well.
Awesome information. And you're exactly right. Especially if you're strenuously exercising or long periods of time, exercising or working or whatever, you are right. Your body's going to be screaming for carbohydrates.
That's right. And you
can't avoid carbs. It's in everything. You can't avoid it. But it's for a reason. It's for a reason,
right.
because
that's exactly right.
We need carbs to energy. We need energy.
Energy. That's exactly right. Where are you getting your energy source from? So when you have a steak, that's going to take 45 minutes before it kicks in and starts breaking down in your gut, versus eating vegetables on top of it, or vegetables on their own, which start breaking down within 20 minutes or 15 minutes. So people that are eating vegetables at nighttime and then eating protein in early in the morning, they're setting themselves up for success in a huge way, because they're doing when you have vegetables at nighttime and a smaller amount of meat, it's less digestion, it's less work for your stomach while it's doing all the repair work. And then in the morning, that's when you have your protein and you can actually slow release energy all day long. So changing people's mindset, especially in the Western world, that is something that is very challenging, because if we were over in Asia right now, this is a given. Eating meat in the morning is a given, right? It's just part of their daily functioning. So we just need to pull away from the pastries and pull away from the meaningless cereal that we digest that gets us nowhere. Those are the foods that I recommend cutting out of people's diets, not necessarily pasta or rice, where that actually can fuel them at the right time, depending on what they're doing, right? So I do around 22 hours of exercise a week. All that is counter body weight type of exercise that I'm doing. And the reason that I do that is so that I can have higher levels of energy and consistent. Then back that up with regular sleep patterns and consistent eating, you will see that you'll stay healthy and full of energy to be like throughout your day. It shouldn't matter that it's 7 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock in the morning. Your energy should be the same all the time. So if it's not, what's missing?
I could talk to you all day about this. I've got to wrap it up. So I'll just go on to the third question. So who's your ideal client? Who do you want to help the most?
That's a really good question. My ideal client is someone who is ready to take action for themselves and their own behavior.
Excellent. And I'll go on to the last question. So what ideas or information would you give us to create lifelong longevity?
Yeah, so that ties back to those 5 points that I was talking about earlier. So if I think about those 5 points again, so my master rules for longevity is regulate your nervous system, right? And then also preserve that muscle movement for capacity, and then sleep deeply and sleep consistently. Then, of course, eating whole foods, anti-inflammatory foods, which you would think would be my number one priority, being a nutritionist, but it's actually just a little bit further down the line. And then, of course, staying connected and purposeful within your life, which is what House of Mahalo is all about as well.
Okay, so thanks. That's awesome information. So there's your website there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your website. So a House of Mahalo. Is that how you
Mahalo.
pronounce
It means
Yep.
House of Thanks.
House of Thanks. And there's Rennee's LinkedIn details as well. So get in contact with Rennee. And because you've been so wonderful and didn't bag me too much today, Rennee, you get access to my health club. So that's
Thank
for
you.
30 days. So I teach about EFT, emotional freedom technique, meditation, everything we did basically on the retreat. So there's 20 years of information I've just condensed into 9 modules. So
Thank you. I look forward to
just 9 modules. Just 9 modules. So
9 modules.
so that is over 60 lessons. So
Wow.
So yeah, it's worth $11. Same with you, Kayla. She came on and said hello as well.
Hello.
She's in Victoria.
Oh, lovely to see you.
They're all Victorians. Same with Dominic. It's Dominic. He's in Victoria as well. So you guys get access as well to the health club. And thanks very much, Rennee. I look, as I said, I could talk to you all day about what we're talking about today. And thank you so much for coming on. And we appreciate the gold nuggets you gave us today.
No worries at all. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely.
All right, guys, you've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast. And thank you again, Rennee. And you guys, you have a great day.